because only when you get sick and you realize the value of family, because you realize a lot of the phone calls stop coming.
On this episode of Pushing Your Peers podcast, I sat down with Devon Williams, a proud Turks and Caicos Islander, devoted family man, and thriving entrepreneur. Devon shared his inspiring road to recovery after facing leg injuries that left him immobile, and how that experience reshaped his views on health, productivity, and life. We dove into the healthcare system and the changes needed, plus what you can do to stay healthy and thrive. We also tackled the P for prosperity and productivity, exploring how hyper-productivity is the key for Turks and Caicos Islanders to thrive in today's economy. Sit back, relax, and let's get ready to push some P's. Now, Devin, you've been through a journey and you've had encounters with our healthcare system. Tell us about this journey that you've been on this past year.
Well, I've been on a number of health journeys, but this one was personal for me because this time, instead of being a supportive person in the life of people affected by the system, I was personally the one being the patient. And I would say that the healthcare system has a lot of potential in Turks and Caicos, but unfortunately, we are not really fully utilizing the potential of the system. And I think it will come a time, but I would say that if I had been injured 15 years earlier, the outcome would have been, if I had the same injury in the same condition 15 years earlier, the outcome would have been much different. For example, I would probably be airlifted almost immediately just to see a specialist, and then who knows what would happen. And, overseas medically, you're basically at the mercy of the system. In my case, I was very fortunate because the specialties that I needed were available on island, and the hospital were able to provide it. So it was more convenient for me and my family because 100% of my care took place here by resident professionals here. So that's a big leap. I remember when simple diagnostics, anything that they weren't sure about, which was almost everything, was sent overseas. And then the process for getting the follow-up care was pretty difficult, and it was not a straight line as it is now. I think we pretty much have a better position now, and I'm thankful that I was able to utilize the facility. Not a choice of mine because nobody wants to be injured, but I was able to make the most of it and get on the road to recovery.
What are some challenges our healthcare system has based on what you've been through currently, and what are some solutions to those challenges?
Well, from what I see, the healthcare system is basically not growing fast enough. The country is growing a lot faster than the healthcare system. We're using a 15-year-old contract for healthcare, for what I know, and I'm only talking from the surface because I don't know much about it. But what I can tell you is that 15 years ago, if you were building a hospital, you would build a hospital to handle one gunshot wound or two gunshots for the year. In Turks and Caicos in 2024, we've had how many?
A lot.
We have over 40 murders, most of them by firearm, and probably the same amount of people that were injured. So we have to take into effect the growth of the country and the shifting changes. And what I see, the changes, the requirements are shifting, but we are probably not growing the facility as fast as it needs to grow. So I saw it from the inside as a patient, and the service is excellent, but there's so much more that is needed. For what I can see, the services are at capacity, and while they're doing the best they can, giving the best care, we have to, as a nation, be ahead of the issues. If we get 10 sick people, we should be able to handle 12. If we get 20, we need to be able to handle 25. And that's just the way it is. So that's my view of the healthcare system, what I saw.
And what can us as regular citizens be doing, recognizing that, okay, the hospital currently cannot handle this capacity, but, at any moment, I can go through a health scare. I can go through a health crisis.
Yeah,
What
we have to
what
rethink
should
the
be doing?
way we look at healthcare. Healthcare is a responsibility. You have to be healthy. If you are a healthy person, you have 1,000 problems. But the day you become sick, you have one problem. That problem is to get better. So once you find yourself in the situation, we need to improve our facilities to be able to adequately take care of our population because we have not much of us, and we want to keep everybody alive and most of all healthy because we need everyone to participate properly in this economy. And sick people can't take part, even if they want to. They just can't take part. I've been down when I couldn't walk. And some days the pain was too much. I would sit in front of my computer with stacks and stacks of work that I intended to do, but the pain is too much. You just cannot work. I would take the cocodamol and the pain will go away, but also will take away the desire to work. So being
Yeah.
sick is a very taxing responsibility, and we need to make sure that once people are sick, they have a way to take care of themselves. See, and we have a responsibility to take care. Now, our whole structure of NHIP is very modern, is very inclusive. It's like everybody pays for everybody, so everybody should be taken care of. But we have to rethink the way our health providers now. We have to rethink the way we select health providers and the way we fund health providers and what the real cost of health provision is. Um, for what I know, health provision costs like I would just guess like $40 million locally, and totally is around almost 100 million. That's just what it costs. How much does that come from contribution? How much is supplemented from government? I don't know the exact number. I'm pretty sure the number is there, but as a nation, we have to look at these numbers and say, hey, this is what it is now. This is what our population growth is looking like. This is what it needs to be from then. So more people come, there'll be more contribution. How is it going to balance? And we figure it out. We're all smart people. But we can't bury our head in the sand and say, oh, the hospital is a bad place. Or mental health ain't no good. Or whatever. We can't do that stuff. We have to realistically look at how we're going to walk forward and move forward because we have to take care of everybody in this country.
And what does that look like, Davin? Like, what does it look like me taking accountability for my health, me taking the initiative, and recognizing these challenges within the system? What does that look like for me?
What it looks like for you is making a good decision when you go to the poll. I mean, make sure you're selecting people that are able to take these issues and deal with them responsibly, not in a popular way, because there's a popular way to do it and there's a right way to do it. And once you, and that's basically the only thing. The next thing is you take to the street and you protest and you get nowhere. I've done that. It gets you nowhere. You write letters. They may look at it, they may not. The ultimate, the singular Turks and Caicos Islander that affects your health care is your Minister of Health. He makes the decisions and he makes these decisions daily. And he has to direct us every year. For the next 5 years, we have another minister. That minister has to direct us on a part of sustainable health care. And that's a decision for you to make. That's the most immediate decision you can make. And once that decision is made, then you can just go to advocacy. But in reality, most of us deserve, because you're paying for it, good health care. I wouldn't advise anyone to settle for less. And I see what the hospital is capable of doing, but I see that they have challenges because they're working a system that's just old, is understaffed to what I can see, and it doesn't have enough beds. We got 20 beds in Provo and 10 in Grand Turk. We should have 100 based on
Yeah.
our population and international standards. So I can't blame the hospital for that. The government needs to say, hey, we're expanding now. I mean, 15 years ago, we had this little building, and 15 years later, we need something bigger. We need to expand.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, I would give it to the government when they originally, the hospital is a hotly debated. Look, anytime you're spending money, it's going to be hotly debated. And as a country, we had never spent this. This like the biggest contract we'd gotten into is $125 million. It's just nothing now. 15 years ago, that was a tremendous amount of money. And so, whenever there's a lot of money spent, the government is going to say this is the best use of this money. The opposition is going to say, oh, they messing the money up. They're making a bad decision. It's natural. But what has to happen now, responsibly, you have to realize what we built 15 years ago can't work for now. Now, the government changed cars, they changed office, they changed staff and everything 15 years. We got to look at healthcare. We got to look at so many things. We got to look at the roads. We got to look at everything because 15 years is too long to not modernize where you're going.
That hospital, yeah.
Yeah, the hospital is just one. You know,
One of the
you have to seriously modernize, and I think the upcoming government time is going to be the time when we have to make the tough decisions because everything is going to fall apart. After the next election, every single thing as you know it is going to be inadequate almost immediately. And you
yeah.
need to make sure, you in a plane now, you go in Grand Turk, thunderstorm, you need solid people in the cockpit.
Yup, indeed.
Yeah, because we're going to get the place we're now where we have to make the tough decisions. And healthcare is one of them. Healthcare is going to be at the forefront.
And Davin, this topic was very important for me to talk about because, as you are well aware, when you are not healthy, you're not happy, and
No, you can't do that.
if you're not happy, you're gonna not be as productive. You're not gonna be as motivated. So this was a topic that we had to talk about on this episode. And
Mhm.
I want you to talk to our people in regards to what should we be hearing during this political season? Because we are in a political season right now. What should we be hearing about health from the future minister of health? What are some? I want you to give them too much ideas because I want to reach out to you, but just give us a little synopsis of what that message should be like from our future minister of health.
I think we're fortunate in Turks and Caicos because we have a number of um, health practitioners that are that's their industry. I mean, that's not my industry. I wouldn't know what to tell you that they need to say, but I'd say
Okay.
that we have so many doctors, local doctors, that can be brought around the table and craft a way forward. That any minister that wants to find a way forward can find it. The thing is, I think I would look for someone to say, we're going to try and bring as much as the referred services back inland as possible. So everybody that goes to Cayman or DR or Bahamas or Jamaica, um, we want to start bringing these services and look at the biggest ones first. Build some of these specialties on island, even if they're not going to be a part of the inter-health facility. They need to be built in other facilities on island. We need to repatriate most of our overseas spending. And I
Yeah.
think once you have more of these services available on island, you instantly make healthcare more accessible. So if I have a heart valve issue, if I need a stent installed in my heart because we eat a lot of pigtail. Uh, if I get my heart blocked, I shouldn't have to go overseas for 6 weeks and do the surgery and then learn to walk and learn to breathe and all that overseas when I can do that. I can do that procedure here. So I think once government looked at doing it like this, so they would say, look, we're going to guarantee a lot of these services to be local. You'll have people in the industry, professionals who do this for a living, who say, well, hey, I can assist in this department. Somebody else could assist in this department. I think it's time for a community solution. I think we can come with a community solution because at the end of the day, the overseas referral is probably around 30-40 million dollars.
Mm, indeed.
There's some there has to be some benefit in bringing some of that money back home.
Back into this economy.
Yeah,
Indeed.
that's my view.
Indeed. Davin, now you've gone through your experiences, and there might be persons who entering stage one of what you've gone through. Bear in mind, you have been very fortunate, but you've also been an advocate for people as well. So, being someone who's been a patient, being someone who's been an advocate, what would be your advice to that person now entering stage one of what you've gone through What should their mindset be?
Well, the first thing with you receiving healthcare, you need to be communicating with someone that can help to give you honest advice. Because what I think is the hardest thing to find when you're sick is an explanation. I mean, your doctor gives you some, but you need somebody else that can dissect some of what with which you know. So once you understand your position, like when I had my surgery, well, the hospital takes you through a little school. So when you diagnose, they put you in, and then people come and they visit you, and they bring a lot of documents, and they talk to you. But this is going to happen. This is going to happen. You're going to lose feeling in the side of the leg. You're never going to get it back. You're going to lose so much strength in your leg. You're probably never going to get it back. You can get it back. You may not get it back. These are risks we're going to take. Okay, we're going to apply anesthesia. This is how anesthesia affects the body. This is the risk of you. So look at me. I have a short neck. My neck is not long. I'm not a good candidate for anesthesia. Why? Because if there's a problem in anesthesia and they need to intubulate me or put some tubes down my throat to assist my breathing, it becomes difficult because my neck is so thick. It's difficult to open the airway. It's a kind of it's a different process. So I learned a lot of things. First of all, if you're sick, you don't want to weigh 300 pounds or over. It just decreases your chance of everything. The MRI machine, all these things are designed for people 300 pounds and less. So 30% of Turks and Caicos are not in a good shape when they go to the hospital for any reason. So you then next thing is you want to maintain as good health as possible outside of being sick. You want to be fit. Because when I went into surgery, my heart rate elevated, but it came back down because my body knew from boxing in the mornings or jogging a lot, I would always push my body to the limit, even though and it knew. So my heart knew how to raise the pace, and it knew how to slow it back down. So eventually, it came under control. Had I been a person that was not mobile, if my heart had never seen this before, it goes into panic mode. I could have gone into cardiac arrest. So you have to, I advise everybody, you need to be in the best shape as you can, just in case you get sick. I mean, if you're in good shape, you're not supposed to get sick, but if you're sick, you want to be in the best shape, you want to get the best information. You want to get information from people that are professionals and not from Google. Um, Google going to give you a lot of stuff that you don't understand. Most of it is the only two things. It's either stuff on the surface or stuff too deep for you to understand.
Right.
So I advise you to have a general practitioner that you go to regularly that you could communicate with. So when you're sick, you can call up your doctor and say, "Hey doc, I got this problem. Tell me what's going on."
Indeed.
Yeah. I also encourage every Turks and Caicos Island, everybody in this country. I don't need to talk to people on work permit because they do it anyway because they do medicals. Everyone in this country should do a medical once a year. First of all, because you got to do it. Second of all, because it only costs $10.
Yes.
You know, so
Yeah.
you can sit and you can bash the hospital. You can say it ain't developing, it ain't doing this, it ain't doing that. But it has the ability to diagnose 90% of what can go wrong with you. So you got to go go get yourself a private doctor that you go to once a year, and they will do the medical for you. They will send the samples over to the hospital. The hospital will send it back to them, and there's that record. So you're keeping a journal of your health. Everybody needs a journal of their health. Now, as a guys, we don't like this. Be strong. Women, on the other hand, are very reliable. They don't miss their time.
No.
They just go. You see, they schedule that in their life. They just go. Who don't go for birthday, go for Christmas, but they just go. We pretend as if we don't need to go, but
Indeed.
that's not responsibility. Responsibly, you have to do it. You have to keep that journal. So when you're sick, you in the system. They know your blood type. They know what your blood pressure is be. They know where your sugar is supposed to be. So the minute they pull you up on your chart and they see something, I'll say, why is blood pressure so high and it normally this?
Right.
You know, just, yeah, you see? So we got a good thing. And a lot of the efforts in finding what we can fix with the hospital needs to start with finding what we can fix with us.
Indeed.
Get in there, fix the problem when you can fix here. Don't wait till you gotta go gay, man. And don't wait until you like gotta cut off to start going because then it's too late. We got to most of what can be found early. We know what our problems is: sugar, pressure, cancer. And probably 80% of what's going on with us. and all of them could catch quick. All of them could find early. I mean, there's some that slip through the crack, but you got to just deal with it. And if you catch them early, you could fix them. I mean, I personally, my boy, I fell down and I broke my kneecap, my patella tendon on one leg. I was supposed to go back in 4 weeks to check it out again. 3 days before my appointment, I fell again and broke the other one. So I was totally unable to walk. 2 legs useless now. And the first thing I did was blame me. It's my situation. I've been brought here for a reason. I did something. All my decisions so far in life brought me to this position. And the truth of the matter is, I was seriously overweight. It is a problem that was going to have some kind of catastrophic end if it wasn't taken care of. It wasn't taken care of, and that catastrophic notice was basically you lose use of both your legs because you fell and you damaged tendons in them. Now, that compounds the issue now because you're a guy that exercises all the time. In order to burn weight, to lose weight, you need to use your muscles.
Indeed.
And if the largest muscles in your body, which your 2 legs, are not usable, your ability to burn fat is seriously diminished. Your mobility is diminished. So now I have to start from a position of first regaining the mobility to be able to burn the fat. I just can't start burning the fat. I first got to start regaining the mobility. But I was put in the world to be an inspiration. And that challenge gives me the gift of an inspiration because if you think of everybody you like, all your heroes, they only like them because they come through challenge. You can't inspire nobody if you ain't get no challenge. If you won't been through nothing, you can't inspire nobody. You can only tell them story read with other people. So I took it as a challenge to myself, and I knew that I didn't want to live a certain way. I can't walk across a building every day and see step and know I can't go up that step. I can't go in the store every day on walker. I went to IG a couple of times with a walk. I went to building material a couple of times with a walk in. It's terrible. I'm telling you, bro. The walk are hard. It's good when you're on the flat surface. When you coming down that little step, it is lean forward.
I
ain't strong no more. Yeah, I don't like that.
For sure.
So I went to the hospital and they say you start therapy. You have to start therapy and you got to take you off the walk. I was like, this is the first day I went. The first day, the day after surgery, took me and then they said, you have to learn to walk. And I was like, okay, how are we going to learn to walk now? They said that, well, you have to use these crutches. And I said, man, the pain is so much. I said, bring me the walker. I bring one of the old people things. I didn't even know the name. Bring one of the old people things. Let me try it. And I struggled and said, man, you determined. I said, yeah, man, I come here to learn to walk. Let me start today. I come back tomorrow. Because listen, when you 300 plus pounds, people don't want to headache you. There was one person in the hospital, one guy. If he wasn't at work, that's the only porter. He's a big guy. And if he wasn't at work, I couldn't move. So one time for the MRI, one time for everything, if he's not there, I couldn't move. The other people, they just say, you're too big, I can't handle you. And I just had to live with it. That's just the way it is. But I said, look, that's the guy working with. That's the guy working with. If he'd have worked today, I don't know if he's working tomorrow. Carry me, let me do the thing. I started to walk in the same department I got the walker from. I went back in there 6 weeks later, and they said, hey, you have to stop using this walker now. We're taking the walker from you. putting you on the bicycle and start getting mobility back in your legs, because after surgery, bro, your leg don't bend no more. I mean, like, they can't bend. They bend so far and that's it. And they get on the bike and start slowly regaining the mobility. And you lose a lot of stability in muscles after surgery, because the way it is, if you cut your hand now, right? If you get an accident and you cut your hand, you put a mark down your hand, your body's going to respond to that some way. It's going to take all the tissue from around it, all the muscle and everything around it, to fix the problem. If you do a surgery now, the body still see it as trauma. Trauma is trauma in the body. So even though it's a good thing, you still take the muscle. All the tissue from the muscle goes to repairing the damage that was done in surgery.
Right.
So now you lost all the strength, because once you lose muscle, first of all, you only use these muscles for 7 weeks. So the body say you won't need this no more. And the next thing you lose is your body. You learn to walk at a certain age. You learn to walk like when you're a few months, like 9, 10 months old. Not only because your muscles are strong enough, because your body knows how much pressure to put on each muscle for you to walk. That's why babies walk and fall down, walk and fall down. But once you learn that, you do it every day, so you don't forget it. So now, when you get injured, you forget it. You have to go through the whole process and learn it again. But you can't remember how to learn it, because the last time you learned it, you wasn't one yet.
Right.
And so it's a whole process, and you just got to stick with it, man. You just got to know what you're about, just go for it.
Mr. Williams, I just want to thank you for sharing that and being so candid and open. Truly inspirational. And not only is your story inspirational, but the tips you shared are extremely valuable. Just, having that expert advice, um, regular checkups, putting your health first. Thank you for sharing that, because we needed to hear that coming from you.
Especially for the man, the man got to do it.
Indeed. Indeed. Now, brother, this is the second half of the show where you push your P's or P, any word that begins with the letter P that has been transformational to your journey. You now have the floor.
My P, my friend, as the political season starts, let's get to it. All right, my P ain't gonna be PNP nor PDF. Right? I will tell you that the P that's going to be sold to you is prosperity. They're going to sell you prosperity. And the politicians are going to tell you that they can provide prosperity. But I can tell you this: prosperity is directly linked to one word: productivity. If you don't produce anything for consumption, you'll never find prosperity. So until we get to the point where we start producing for consumption, and then until we become productive, hyper productive, you can't be just normally productive. Now you have to be extremely productive. I see you say 50 episodes. 50 episodes just to start. You got to get to 500 episodes. You say you say you're the number one guy in the Caribbean, and I want to see you interviewing more Caribbean icons to take this beyond where we are now. It's too good a product. It's easy to find a online podcast on music. It's easy to find a podcast on entertainment. It's not easy to find a podcast on political views or social issues or serious topics in the Caribbean. This is a space that's open. This is a space that you can utilize. So I say my P is productive. We got to produce, man. We got to be productive. We got to be beyond hoping for somebody looking for a partner.
Right.
Yeah. The partner thing don't work no more. You go out, you go out and you pull a partner on the dance floor. If you was a man, your partner looking for drinks. If you was a girl, your partner looking for something else.
I tell you.
We got to get that productivity going.
Indeed.
especially in our guys. You know, the women are pretty productive in Turks and Caicos. Ladies are producing and getting things done. And it's sad. You go to a career day and they say you're the deputy governor and the AG, and then where's the guy?
Indeed.
And we have guys. We have people like Sherlyn Forbes, Kyle Smith. Uh, we got Delano Clark, other people, Mark Fulford, Andrel Mizik. We got a lot of guys, but they wouldn't get invited because their productivity, as we see it as a nation, that needs to be promoted, is with the women. And I think it's a point now we need to bring more men to the forefront and force them to be productive. Because the production is going to happen, the economy is going to grow. The economy is continuing to grow. And you can't participate if you're not providing a skill or a product. It's the only way. There's no law. I saw the real estate people got a new protectionist law, and I can tell you straight up, it ain't gonna work. The only way you can control real estate if you could sell better than everybody else. Ain't no law. You can say if you could be you got to be in the forefront. You got to drive everything, and you got to be the biggest producer. You got to be the biggest producer of results to be number one. So that's my P. That's the P I want to push, productivity.
And it's such a powerful P. I recently attended the Made in TCI event over the weekend, Mr. Williams. And believe it or not, 80% of the vendors, 80% of the entrepreneurs were women. But now I can all my counter argument in my mind was that maybe well, not maybe, a lot of our men are in the technical fields. We
Hmm.
still dominate the constructions, the boating jobs, and all these things. So these entrepreneurs wouldn't show up to the trade show because
No, not only that.
I was justifying it. You
For a,
know,
for a startup business, and you need capital, it's easier for women to get capital than a man.
okay,
So
okay,
I would say that 80% of those businesses you saw were actually funded by the guys that you didn't see.
yeah,
All right. And
yeah,
you'd be surprised how many dreams are sacrificed by these guys to make these things happen.
indeed.
So I would commend them as well. And I hope some of them watch it. But we have to be so big. Our productivity needs to be so big that it transcends that. And the Made in TCI event has to be simple. Now, listen, this year we here. Next year, let's see who can get us close to $1 million. Which one of these businesses can we evaluate for $1 million in 12 months? Show me a pathway to $1 million.
I love
All right.
that.
You have a $3 million day, $4 or $5 million day economy. How can we build these small businesses to be $1 million businesses? Made in TCI is good, but if it ain't high production, be a good hat, good basket. But one person only can make 5 baskets a week. So that's the limit.
I
How do we utilize productivity to produce enough?
I Now, Mr. Williams, I have two more questions for you, but this one just hit me, and I have to ask this one, just given the whole context of this conversation that we're having right now. Why do we as locals feel that some things are too good for, let's say, my brother Devin to have? Like, why can't Devin have $100,000 for his business, or why can't this person? Why do we still have that mindset that we can only give Davin $20,000. Davin's this type of person, or Leo is this type of person. He don't give him 75 for this that. And how can we overcome this mindset? Because based on what you're saying with productivity, is we are going to need to overcome that mindset in order to be hyper productive.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we come from a society where we only used to seeing one success story in a lifetime. So if you rewind 20 years ago, in a population of probably we had 20,000 people then, there were probably five wealthy people. So in
Indeed.
the whole lifetime of these people, they've only seen five wealthy Turks and Caicos Islanders. And if I'm hoping to be one of the new five, and you trying to be one of the five, I can't feel good because if only could be five, and you won't be one, I got to fight for the other four space. So let me just stop you to leave the door a little open for me. But the thing is, the economy is growing so much. We have to understand there's so much available in this economy that there's room for more than 10. There's room for each and every one of us.
Yes.
Einstein said everybody's a genius. But if you judge a fish by his ability to climb a tree, you call him a fool.
Yo,
You see?
I love that
So
quote.
if I'm presenting myself to grow in a certain arena, and you stopping me from growing in that arena, and you comforting yourself with the fact that you stopped me from growing, you've actually taken a challenge from yourself and you stopped yourself from growing as well. I say the way we can move forward is push as much of us others as you could push forward yourself. If you push enough people, if you get enough of people that you know in position to make serious decisions, you get a better chance of a favorable decision. If you was going to court now and you had a jury, you want to see me on a jury. You know, I get you. If you was going for a job and interview panel, same thing. You want to see somebody you know, because they get you. But if I stop you this week from getting there, next week I reach there, and nobody they know me. And we have to understand our limitations. Most of us have never participated in the economy of this size. Turks and Caicos, we've never worked anywhere else. Turks and Caicos is a lot bigger than it was a year, 2 years ago. So how do we participate in this economy? We have to upskill ourselves. We have to constantly increase the skill, constantly look at ways to manage business, and most importantly, manage yourself. If you get mashed up every afternoon, you can't push on in the morning. Now, I know you don't get mashed up because I see you on the track every morning, so I know you ain't getting mashed. But there are people who get tear completely up, and they call it networking. So if I say I'm networking, I go out with a few business people, a few lawyers or Grace Bay boys, and I get totally mashed up. And I crawl into work at 10 o'clock in the morning, and they crawl into work at 10 o'clock in the morning. We still are going to be judged differently because they have a network that first of all didn't sleep, that works for them, and they've probably been sending texts when they roll over before they took the shower because they've built a network. We're not at that position. So the life we see, life we see with people enjoying their harvest, we try to get that same life with our seed. You see, so we emulating their celebration, we emulating their success, but we not emulating the steps they took 10 or 15 years ago, and we were laughing at them and say, "Oh, look at this white man come off the plane with briefcase and flip flop." Yeah, we didn't know because he came with briefcase and flip flop, but he had a plan.
Damn right.
Okay, look at this Asian building that's placed down the road. The door ain't straight, the window ain't straight. Yeah, but now they're controlling a big chunk of the housing market. So what you have to do is get in production mode. We got to be in production mode for the next 15 years. Serious production, doing every single thing, and make sure, Leo, don't forget I tell you, 2 to 3 years from now, people need to know your name in every country in the region.
For sure, bro.
It's not impossible. They have to know. You have to meet as many people. Most people need to get this. You need to do what you got to do to push your link forward and interview the people that are going to get the hits. That's what productivity is. Productivity is doing multiplying what you do. No add to it. Multiply. So we do 2 today, 2 to the power 2 to the power 2.
For sure,
Not 2
bro.
by 2. Not 2 plus 2.
For
We do
sure,
it to the
bro.
power of now. See? Because
For
when
sure.
I just realized how small my world was. I came out of North Caicos, went to Nassau, and I was struggling in math. I was wondering why. I was struggling in match, man. They said, man, why you didn't run the match club? I said, they got a match club? They run the match club. They got named guys. Like the first thing they say, oh, we're making a t-shirt. And we want to make the shirt say, we are number one. The one guy say, no, we not number one. We are number E to the negative I pi. Like, wow, okay. So right away I realized his brain is working not double my brain or triple my brain or 10 times my brain. His brain is like 1,000 times more advanced than my brain. And the reason why I can't figure out what an algorithm is, or I struggle to understand Pythagoras, because I was taught that simultaneous equations was hard. But simultaneous equations was actually a joke. I was taught, because everybody says sine, cosine, and tangent is hard stuff. Trigonometry is hard. And you get in a place and they say, hey, here we get an x-axis, the y-axis, we also get an I. Like, oh, okay, good. So you have to, if you're in the fridge, you can be a certain temperature.
For sure.
If you on the stove, you can be a certain temperature. Okay? You have to constantly associate with people that are moving at the pace you want to go at. If you want to build a race car, then you know you can't pull up to one of them place on South Dock Road, pulling one of them mechanic shop where they're using hammer. And you can't complain about the advances in engine. You got to get, with Lewis and the people in F1.
For sure.
If we want to lead this industry, only one way you can lead this industry, bro, we got to position ourselves to own the industry. And the simple way to own the industry is to own the problems associated with the industry. Anything you own the problems associated with, you own it. And one other thing I can leave you with. We complain all the time, say we gotta leave out. All right. But I got a friend, Mark Fulford, Andrea, all these guys. Say, oh, we gotta leave. I said, guys, that's them people place. Don't forget that. That's people things.
Hey.
You can't fight for position in people things, because you can only be in people things at people pleasure. You feel me? And back to my injury, bro. If I never got injured and was never slowed down, most of what I tell you now, they couldn't tell you. Because only when you get sick, when you realize the value of family, because you realize a lot of the phone calls stop coming.
Wow.
A lot of the text message, they slowly stop coming, because you can no longer contribute to the areas they want you to contribute to, and you stuck with the family. So there may be some people who say, hey, let me leave my family tonight to hang with the boys. So if you don't have a two broke leg, the boys may send you a message, may come by, make some noise for 2 minutes. But it may be you and a group of people that you're unable to take care of properly. Those are the closest with you. And the truest test of life is when you don't get nothing to offer.
Indeed.
That's when you know your true value, when you ain't got nothing to offer. And you just existed based on existence. So that's my day, bro.
Man, listen, man. This episode was everything I hoped it would be. So I just want to thank you once again for your openness, your candidness, and also your honesty and what it will take to move this country to the next level. And my final question to you would be, me being an author myself, right? If you were to write a memoir, what would the title of your memoir be?
If I were to write a memoir at this point in life, it would be called I Must Keep Learning.
I must keep learning.
I must keep learning. Because the only thing I've understood in life was that I don't know anything. Everything I thought I knew, I'm realizing slowly, I don't really know. And when I was very much younger, in high school, I went to something called the Caribbean Science Fair um, it was in Mandeville, Jamaica, at the West Indies College at the time. And I remember one speech a guy gave. He said, "We are all science experts, but in the end, as science continues, we realize that an expert is just a guy that knows more and more about less and less. In the end of his life, he knows everything about nothing, because the world is continuing to open."
Indeed.
You know, so I'm just trying my best to keep learning and keep inspiring and keep teaching as much as I can.
Thank
Time management, one of my biggest weakness. So when you realize that you're extremely busy, you realize you're not managing your time. Anytime you're busy, you're just ain't managing your time because you're doing something that's stealing time, that's not productive. So if you're going to be productive, if you're super productive, you should have quite a bit of time in your hand. Yeah, because if you just your production is so low that it takes all of your energy to happen. See, so
Thank you. Thank you so
yes,
much,
sir.
Mr. Williams, for coming on Pushing Your Peace podcast. Where
Thank you,
can we
Leo.
find you? How can we reach out to you?
You see me every morning, Leo. You know how to
No,
find me,
I
man.
talk about I talk about my audience.
Yeah. Well, I'm easy to find, man. You know,
um,
I'm pretty easy to find, man.
okay.
So yeah,
Any social media contacts or anything you want to?
yeah. I'm probably gonna put some quotes out later on. You know,
Okay.
probably some people have been asking me to do a podcast as well, and I think about it, but sometimes time will allow it.
Right.
But I just want to encourage everyone here to produce content because most of the content, if you put in Turks and Caicos, most of the content is not produced by us. So once we don't live and see these things and all these things can happen, and all we got is selfie, 20 years from now, we would have lost an opportunity to tell our story.
Indeed.
We have to tell our story. We have to constantly tell our story because even in weakness, when we tell our story, we expose ourselves not to being vulnerable, but we expose ourselves to grow. So we got to tell our story. And you got to keep doing this, bro. I really, really commend you.
Thanks.
You got to keep doing this, and you got to inspire more people to do it.
Indeed, brother. Thank you
You
so
got to
much.
inspire more people because only you can do what you're doing. You're the only person that can do it. But there are other people that can do other things that you are not going to have time to do or that they're interested in to do. Because there needs to be a bread making podcast.
Right. That's true. Yep.
There needs to be a Turks and Caicos plant podcast. What's the scientific name for buds? We just call it buds. I don't know what the tree name. How to cook buds and rice if everybody dead now. How we can cook it next week?
That's true though.
Yeah,
That is true.
we got to do it, man.
Mr. Williams, I mean, this episode has been extremely powerful, and I just want to thank you for taking time out to be on Pushing Your Peace podcast and also drop so many gems. I mean, you talk about content, there's so much content I can pull from this one episode, and I will definitely take your words into consideration and aim for that 500.
Got to do 500, man. For now.
Definitely, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, Devon Williams, family man, TCI patriot, social activist, and a lover of his country. You have been listening to Pushing Your Peace podcast, and I'll see you next week.